Tonight I was going to talk about channeling and my experiences with channeling, but I changed my mind and I decided I'm going to relay a little story about what happened to me in Sedona about 4 years ago in April. I attended a cosmic disclosure workshop in Sedona. I wanted to meet Corey Good, who's in Secret Space Program Insider, and I had listened to a lot of interviews that he did, read a lot of books about him, and he was speaking at this conference and I wanted to hear him speak. So I went to the conference and it lasted 2 days, stayed in a hotel room, and on the second night in the hotel room, before it was time to come home, I woke up at about 3 in the morning, and when I woke up, I was told to take my consciousness outside of the building. So I did, and when I took my consciousness outside of the building, I walked into a room that had an arched door, and there was a long table in the room, and sitting all around the room were these beings. They didn't have human bodies, they didn't even have faces, but they had shapes, and they were made completely out of light, and they were charging themselves with a giant crystal that was sitting on the middle of the table. So I could see that they had arms and they had hands, but they were you couldn't really discriminate any fingers or anything, and they were charging themselves around this huge crystal. And when I walked into the room, they said to me, "You don't belong here. You need to go back home. You have work to do." And I think this was because I was considering retiring back then and moving to Sedona, because I really liked it there. But they were telling me that I needed to go home. And then they jolted me. And I remember being jolted about at least 6 inches up out of the bed while this was happening. And that was the end of it. And then I went home the next day, and I remember being really, really, really dizzy for at least a week or 2 weeks. And then the interesting thing was that after that happened, I started being able to sense when people had dark energies around them. And I started to be able to clear those energies. And then I started to understand what they had told me and why they told me I needed to go home. And since that time, once in a while they come and visit me. And when they come and visit, they're nothing but swirls of bright light. And at first, I could only see them with my eyes closed. And then one night I was told, "Open your eyes," and I did, and I could see them in the room. And now when they come, if I put my hands out, they'll come right into my hands. And it's the most amazing feeling of just like pure unconditional love. So these beings obviously come from a density that's a lot higher than Earth, and they're very, very loving, and they're part of the mission to raise the consciousness of the planet by using people like me who are mediums and who are channels, who can receive the message and then spread it to others. So that's my story about Sedona. It was great. I loved Sedona, but I belong right where I am.